So, we were talking about market analysis and market research. So since we are meeting after 2 weeks, I'm just recapping what we have done so far and what we are going to learn today, right? So we have completed the market analysis part. So today we are going to discuss the market research process. So under the market analysis, we discussed several ways that we can analyze the market. So based on the market position for a particular product and how we can segment the market and the market structures and the market objectives, right? So if I'm just recalling, so the market analysis means what we are doing as market analysis is, so you know what is the market, right? So what we are doing market analysis is we compare and we analyze where our product or our company is in the market, right? So one thing is you can find out how the market, how you have established your product in the consumer's mind. So this is actually we call uh, the market positioning, right? So you can do this market positioning whether you have to analyze whether you are a market leader, market follower, market challenger, or market niche, right? So whether your company or your product is a market leader, market follower, market challenger, or a market niche, right? So market leader means now the market leader is the company which which has the largest share in the market. So in the sense of, let's say, in the sense of products, let's say you're making biscuit. So if you're having the largest market share as a biscuit producer, comparing to your other competitive producers, that means you are a market leader, right? So market follower is the person who follows. So the name implies is the person who follow the leading company, right? So what does the market leader is doing? The follower is following and doing the same or more or less similar things in order to establish in the market. And you know, market challenger is a company, or a producer who tries to expand the market with some aggressive changes, or we'll say aggressive flooding the market. That means with some such a sudden and aggressive changes in the market, you make some changes in the market. So it calls market challenger. And you know the market niche is, so if you are targeting very specific set of customers, it may be a small segment or small group of customers in the market, but they have some special requirement in their product needs, right? So you select these specific set of customers and you do your production in order to satisfy this set of customers. So for an example, you have targeted the customers who are having diabetes. So it's a very specific set of customers. So you make a biscuit with no sugar, without sugar or sucrose or glucose. You're making a biscuit. So you're targeting a specific set of customers or specific market. We call this as market niche. So whether you're positioning your product in the consumer's mind, so you have to analyze and you have to think whether you're going to position your product in the customer's mind as a market leader, follower, or market challenger, or a market niche, right? So the other one, you know, it's about market segments. So we have discussed about the market segments under segmentation, targeting, and positioning as well. So this is that means you can segment or you are breaking down your large set of customers, your large market with the customers who have more heterogeneous needs. Heterogeneous means different needs. You are segmenting those customers into a small set of or small group of customers which have more or less similar needs. Or we say you are breaking down your large customer base into group of customers who are having homogeneous needs. Then what you are going to do is you are targeting one of those segments and you produce your product in order to satisfy their needs, right? So this is what we call as market segmentation. So you can select one of the criteria or a set of criteria to segment the market, right? So these criteria may be the age of your customers, the religion, gender, their income level, their social status, anything you can select as a criteria to segment the market. The other one is the market structure. So how about whether your product or your company belongs to a perfect competition, monopoly, monopolistic competition, or oligopoly. So you can analyze based on the market structure. So I'm not going to explain these types of market structures each and by each and every criteria, but we are classifying these market structures based on the number of producers in the market and whether is it easy or difficult to enter these types of market, and the type of product, whether it's a unique product or homogeneous or differentiated product. So based on the type of the product, based on the freedom of entry, and based on the number of producers, we classify the market, right? So these are the classifications, and based on your company's objectives, you can analyze the market, right? Whether you have the objective to go to the international market or increase the market share. So based on company's objectives also, you can analyze the market. So these things we have completed so far, and we have started with market research or market survey, right? So if I'm starting with, I think I have started this. So if you can remember, tell me what's a market research or what's a market survey? Yes, what's a market research or a market survey? The same thing. If you can remember, you can put it into the chat box either. So yes, so as the time is passing, and so market research is what we are doing as a market research is we are determining the viability of a new product or the viability of a new product or an existing product in the market, right? So what we are going to do is we research or we analyze whether this product has a potential in the market, right? Let's say if you're launching a new product into the market, so you find out through a market research whether there's a possibility or whether there's a potential for this product to be established in the market, right? Or else, right? So if let's say you are having an existing product in the market, or දැනටමත් product එකක් market එකට දාලා තියෙනවා. So you may find out some problems, questions with the establishment of your product in the market. For an example, you may have observed the reduction of sales in the market, or you may have observed that your product, the customers' attraction is low for your product in the market, right? So to these identified problems, you're going to find out a solution through a proper study. This proper study we call as a market research. So keep in mind, whatever the research you are doing in the academia, that means whether it's a market research or a laboratory experiment or another type of survey, right? What you are doing is you are going to find out the solutions for an existing problem, right? So this is what you're doing in a research. So when it comes to the market research, you are going to find out there are some problems in the market in for a particular product or for a company. So you're going to find out solutions through a proper study for these identified problems, right? So this is what you are doing as a market research. Is it clear to you, or any questions? If there are any question, you can put it into the chat box, or either you can ask. So this is what we actually expect from doing a market research, right? You can discover your target market. So let's say you're going to launch a product to the market, right? So you are going to find out who will be your target customers for your product. And you can get the opinions and feedbacks from the consumers. And also you can find out solutions for your market problems, right? So this is why we need the problems. This is why we need the market research, right? So you can identify the potential for existing products, right? If you are launching a new product or if you have existing product, you can identify the market potential. Market potential means ඔයාට ඒක market එක establish වෙන්න හැකියාවක් තියනවද නැද්ද කියන එක, right? And also you can study about the market trends and the factors influencing them. What are the market trends and what are the factors influencing them, right? And study of the characteristics of the market and the composition of the market. Who are your customers, right? Whether which age group your product is popular among, or which income group. Likewise, you can identify your market and you can analyze about the market share. Whether you are a market leader or a follower, you can analyze through a market study. Right? Is it clear? So this is why we need market research. So now we are going to discuss the process of conducting a market research, right? So earlier also I mentioned, so in a market research, you have to go with a sequence, right? Where you are doing in simple terms, you are doing a proper study. So you have to go through this process, these steps in order to conduct a market research, right? So the first one is you have to define the research problem, and then you have to set the specific objectives for your study, right? We will discuss these one by one. And then you have to design the research plan. And then you have to start collecting data. And then you have to do the data analysis and interpretation and the presentation. Finally, you're presenting your research findings based on your analysis, right? So this is what you're doing as the market research process. Okay, so let's see one by one what you have to do in this market research process. So the first one you have to do is you have to define the research problem and you have to set the specific objectives. So I mentioned you earlier as well, right? So you are doing a market research or whatever the research to find out the solutions for an existing problem, right? So then if you are doing a research for a problem, first thing you have to do is you have to clearly define or you have to clearly identify the problem, right? So in a market research, so first step is you have to identify what is the problem you have in the market for your company or for your product, right? So the first one, you have to identify the problem. Your problem may be lack of sales, your problem may be lack of customer traction, right? or your problem may be uh, the product is it's not viable among customers. Likewise, you may have several problems. The first step is you have to clearly identify this problem, right? So how can you identify the problem with your product, or whether there's a problem, or whether there what is the problem in the market for your company or for your product? How can you identify the problem? කොහොමද මේක identify කරගන්න පුළුවන්? ඔයාගේ product එකට, ඔයාගේ company එකට ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවා market එකේ. එතකොට මේ ප්‍රශ්නේ හරියට identify කරගන්න පුළුවන් කොහොමද? Yes. So one thing is, let's say, from whom usually the market research part is done in a company. Market research part එක ඔය research වැඩ ටික කරන්නේ company එකේ මොන division එකෙන්ද? company එක. company එකක තියෙනවනේ sales, marketing මොම division. ඔයා හිතන්නේ මොකෙන්ද වැඩිපුරම කරන්නේ? Yes. At least put your answers into your chat box. Otherwise, I don't know whether you are in the class or not. So usually the market research is done by the marketing department as well as the research and development department. R&D කියලා තියෙන company එකක. So මේ දෙකෙන් එකකින් විතරක් කරන්නත් පුළුවන්, නැත්නම් ඒ දෙකවල combination වෙලා කරන්නත් පුළුවන්. So they are the researchers for this market research, right? So what they are can do is, one thing is they can analyze the available data, available information, right? Maybe the sales report, so maybe the profit and loss document records, right? So then yeah, they can identify whether there's a sales drop or whether there's a problem with marketing, right? So then they can identify. The other one is, so if it is conducted by a company, the marketing managers of a company, right? Marketing managers of the company should do some thorough discussions, and they have to work closely. They have to discuss, they have to uh, identify the problem, right? එකක් තමයි available data records ඒව බලන්න ඕන. අනිත් එක තමයි marketing managers ලට එකතු වෙලා ඒගොල්ලන්ට thorough discussion එකක් කරන්න ඕන. අපි කියන focus group discussion කියලා මේවා. ඒකට යාලා ඒ discussion එක through identify කරනවා ඔයාගේ product එකට market එකේ මොනවා හරි problem එකක් තියනවද නැද්ද කියලා. Okay, so by doing these things, they have identified the market problem. So then what they have to do is they have to set an objective for your research, right? So always the research are based on objectives. So once you identify the research problem, you have to turn your research problem into an objective, right? So see this one. Right. So now you have identified the research problem, right? So the research problem is, see this example, you have identified a big, so you are a biscuit company, you are in the marketing division of the business company. So your company has lost the sales by 20% in last year. So you have lost your sales by 20% last year. So this is the problem you have identified in the market, right? So what you're going to do now is, okay, so this is the problem. අපේ sales අඩු වෙලා. Okay, we are going to do a research on this. And what you're going to do by doing this research? හරි research එකක් කරලා මොනවද ඔයා කරන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ? research එකේ මොකක්ද බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ? So that's your objective, Okay, we will do a research on this problem. Our sales has been reduced. So why you are doing that research? What you finally expect from this research? So that is the objective of your research. Okay, like this, you can turn your research problem into a research uh, objective. Okay, so sales has been reduced. Okay, we are doing a research, and by doing a research, we will identify why we are doing this research. We are doing this research to identify the opportunities to increase the sales. හරි අපි sales අඩු වෙලා කියලා අපි problem එක identify කරගත්තා. එතකොට අපි දැන් ඒකට research එකක් කරන්නයි මේ යන්නේ. So why we are doing this research? By doing this research, we will identify the uh, opportunities to increase the sales, right? So that's the objective of your research. Research what you're expecting at the end of the research, that is your objective, right? So once you set these objectives for your research, right? So this is the main objective, to identify the opportunities to increase the sales. ඔකට තමයි දැන් මේ රිසර්ච් එක කරන්නේ. සේල්ස් අඩු වෙලා සේල්ස් ඉන්ක්‍රීස් කරන්න තමයි සේල්ස් ඉන්ක්‍රීස් කරන්න තියෙන opportunities හොයාගන්න තමයි රිසර්ච් එක කරන්නේ. So once you set these objectives for a research, we say the objectives should be smart, right? Once you set the objectives, these objectives should be smart. Smart objectives should be set. What do you mean by these smart objectives? So it's each and every letter has a meaning, right? So the S says your objectives should be specific. Your objectives should be specific. So that means you have to specifically set an objective for your research problem. So your research objective should match with your research problem. Right? Problem එකක් objective එක වෙන එකක් වෙන්න බෑ. ඔයාගේ problem එකට හරියන විදිහේ ඒකටම හදපු research objective එකක් වෙන්න ඕනේ. The other one is your objectives should be measurable. That means you are doing a research to find out the reasons or find out the solution for your research question. So your objective should be measurable. measure කරන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්න ඕන. හරිද? ඒ කියන්නේ market එකේ sales වැඩි වුණාද අඩු වුණාද මොනවද measure කරන්න පුළුවන් දෙයක් තමයි objective එකක් විදිහට set කරන්න ඕන. The other one is, this is very important, you have to set achievable objectives. So achievable, you should make your research objective achievable. You cannot set objectives which cannot be reached. කරන්න බැරි reach කරන්න බැරි objectives set කරන්න බෑ. Right? And your objective should be relevant to your research. Right? So research and research problem, it should be matched. It should be relevant to your research problem. And the T stands for the time bound, or it should be matching with your time frame. So you know you cannot do a research you cannot do just one research for your whole lifetime. No? So always you are doing a research within a specific time period. Sometimes you are planning to do a research for, let's say, 4, 5 months, 6 months, or 1 year, 2 years. So within planned time frame, right? So your objective should be achievable within that time frame. Once again, this achievable and time frame are interconnected. So within the within the time period you have set, these objectives should be achievable. Right? So this is what your objective, these is the things you have to think when you're setting objectives for a research, right? It should be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So think about all these things. You have to set the objectives for your research. Is it clear to you? Clear to you? Any questions? Do you have any questions? Do you need to explain the things again? Or is it clear to you?
Clear, madam.
Okay. So then what you have to do is, okay, you set the objectives. So this I will explain you later. You have the two types of objectives. We say general objectives and specific. General objective and specific objectives. So general objective is the overall objective of your research. So at the end of the research, what you are going to achieve. So this is the overall objective. Then you are breaking your overall objective into some small measurable objectives. These are we call as specific objectives, right? So let's say in the next step, how you can break your general objective into specific objectives, right? So the next step for your research is designing the research plan, right? So the next step is you are designing the research plan. So once you identify the research objective, once you identify your research problem, then you are converting your research problem into an object into this objective. So you set your main objective of your research. We call this as the general objective, right? So afterwards, what you have to do is you have to set some specific objectives. You have to turn your general objective into some specific objectives. See this one. So you have lost your sales. So in order to find out the opportunities, you are doing this research. ඔයාගේ බිස්කට් කම්පනි එකේ sales අඩු වෙලා තියෙන. ඒ නිසා ඔයා mainly මේ research එක කරන්නේ to identify the opportunities to increase the sales. Right? So this is the overall general objective of your research. දැන් එකපාරට ඔයාලට බෑනේ මේකට තියෙන opportunities identify කරගන්න. ඒ නිසා ඔයා මොකද කරන්නේ මේ general objective එක again you are breaking down these general objectives into some specific objectives. That means in order to reach this overall objective, you are setting some other specific objectives which can be reached, which can be achieved. So once you achieve each and every specific objective, overall you have achieved the general objective of the study. Got my point? ඔයා main objective එකක් තමයි මේ set කරලා තියෙන්නේ මේ study එකට. දැන් එක step එකකින් මේ main objective එක achieve කරන්න අමාරුයි. ඒ හින්දා ඔයා මොකද කරන්නේ? ඔයා break කරනවා මේ main objective එක තව achieve කරන්න ලේසි වෙන specific objectives කිහිපයකට. So at the end of the research, you expecting to achieve each and every specific objective. ඔයා මොකද කරන්නේ අන්තිමට අර each and every specific objective අර specific objective one by one ඔයා achieve කරනවා. One by one specific objectives achieve කරා කියන්නේ ඔයා overall ඔයාගේ general objective එක study එකේ achieve කරලා තියෙනවා. Clear to you? Clear to you the difference? Is it clear to you the difference between the specific objectives, the general objective, and the specific objectives? Is it clear? Any questions regarding the difference between the specific objectives and the general objectives? So see this example. So now your general objective is to break down your research objective into small specific, your overall objective is, your general objective is to identify the opportunities to increase the sale. So you are breaking down your this general objective into some specific objectives. See this. So in order to achieve the opportunities to increase the sales increase කරන්න තියෙන opportunities identify කරන්න, or step by step they will keep back කරනවා. First thing is first one is to examine the present sales of biscuit. See, අර opportunities identify කරන්න කලින් ඔයා ඉස්සෙල්ලම කරන්න මොකද? ඔයා identify කරන examine කරන දැනට තියෙන sales. Then the next specific objective is to identify the reasons for the sales reduction. Okay, you identify the reasons. Then you find out the opportunities to expand the market share. So this is what you can do at the end. You identify the opportunities to expand the market share. So this you can shape up more into adding 4, 5 specific objectives. ඔයාට පුළුවන් general objective එක achieve කරන්න specific objectives 4-5 වගේ set කරන්න. Right? So this is what you have to do once you identify the research problem. Once you identify the research problem, you set the general objective, then you break your general objective into specific objectives, right? So then you design a research plan for your study, right? You're designing a research plan for your study. So let's see what you have to set as your research plan. Then we are research එක කරන්න කොහොමද කියලා plan එකක් හදනවා. This is not actually you're actually doing the research, right? This is not you're doing the research. What you're going to do is you are designing your research plan, how you are going to conduct the research, right? You are setting how you are going to design the research plan, right? So let's see as the research plan, right? As designing the research plan, what things you have to decide. මොනවද ඔයාට decide කරන්න තියෙන්නේ? One thing is you have to decide the types of data required, right? And then you have to select your research techniques. You have to decide the research technique you are going to follow, right? Then you have to select your research instrument, and then you have to decide your sampling plan. So these things you have to plan in advance. මොනවද ඕන කරන data, මොකද්ද research technique එක, මොනවද use කරන instruments, ඊට පස්සේ මොකද්ද ඔයාගේ sample එක ගන්න sampling plan එක කියලා ඔයා decide කරනවා. ඒ ටික so once you design it, once you plan it in advance, what you have to do is you have to just follow it. ඔයා ඉස්සෙල්ලාම කොහොමද data ගන්නෙ, මොනවද ඕන කරන data, මොකද්ද plan මේ data sample ගන්න විදිය, ඔය ටික decide කරගත්තට පස්සේ ඔයාට තියෙන්නේ ඒ plan එක follow කරගෙන research එක කරගෙන යන්න. Right? So let's see one by one, what are the things you have to decide, right? So what are the things you have to decide, right? Okay, so by the time we have only 2 minutes left for this meeting, so before starting the new part, shall we once again join to the meeting? Otherwise, the meeting will end up once you are